Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Fahana. So our group choose Bernard L. Madoff Investment Security LLC case for the presentation. So here I want to introduce our group members. First is Muhammad Syami Aiman. Second is me, Nur Fahana. Third, Muhammad Syafiq bin Muhammad Asri. Fourth is Putri Ayu Nur Aisyah binti Zoe Nizam. And lastly is Muhammad Syakir bin Muhammad Zafrullah. So here is the company background of Bernard L. Madoff Investment Security LLC. So it was founded by Bernard Lawrence Madoff, who was chairman of the Nasdaq Stock Exchange in 1990. So this company was established earlier in 1960 in New York. The company was managed by their family members too. Other members of his family also occupied prominent positions in industry organizations. The founder from the business became one of the largest penny stocks, brokerage and wealth management firm. They traded penny stock with $5,000 US. The company then became one of the largest market maker day by day until the scandal. Next, as we know, this article has issues that rise to the risk management of the company, where an American financier who executed the largest Ponzi scheme in history, defrauding thousands of investors out of tens of billions of dollars over the course of at least 17 years or possibly larger. Bernard Madoff was a money manager responsible for one of the largest financial frauds in modern day history. His scheme, which likely ran off decades, defrauded thousands of investors out of tens of billions of dollars. The investor put their trust in Madoff because he created a front of respectability. His returns were high but not outlandish, and he claims to use a legitimate strategy. In 2009, Madoff was sentenced to 115 years in prison and forced to forfeit 170 billion as restitutions. As of September 2021, the Madoff Victims Fund distributed its seventh distributions of more than 568 million.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Ahmad Syami Aiman. I will continue the presentation with issues related to why this company collapsed. For the first issue arise is fiduciary duty. Madoff attracted investors by promising them extraordinarily high return on their investments. However, when investors handed over the money, Madoff just deposited it into his personal bank account at Chase Manhattan Bank. He paid returns to earlier investors using the money obtained from later investors. Clients' trading statements showing their alleged profit were complete fabrications. For the second issues arise is improper supervision by authorities. Madoff was able to operate his massive Ponzi scheme without detection for at least a couple of decades. Individuals had urged the Securities and Exchange Commission to investigate Madoff's business practices, and the agency had done so on numerous occasions but had failed to detect the massive fraud. Last but not least, the issue arises is lack of transparency. Madoff maintained his fraud by issuing fake financial statements, as this company were not fair to their investors. Books and reports were changed to make the business look like it's making money. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Syafiq and I'm going to explain regarding risk response. The first risk response is risk sharing. At the firm, he employed his brother Peter Madoff as Senior Managing Director and Chief Compliance Officer, Peter's daughter Shana Madoff as the firm's Rule and Compliance Officer and Attorney, and his now deceased son, Mark Madoff and Andrew Madoff. Second one is reinsurance. He claimed to be using a collar strategy, also known as a split strike conversion. A collar is a way of minimizing risk whereby the underlying shares are protected by the purchase of an out of the money put option. Then, avoid risk. Charity foundation that be funded by Bernard Madoff LLC have been closed to avoid any financial risk that been faced by the business. Lastly, transfer risk. Bernie Madoff was arrested in 2008. The United States government ended up offering to pay out more than $700 million to default Madoff investor. But that amount paled in comparison to the billions upon billions of dollars that investor had been scammed out of. Thank you, that's all from me, and now we will continue with the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, my name is Putri Ayunur Arisha binti Zohisam, and I will take over the presentation from here. Now, let's move to the risk management rules. The risk management rules is to ensure that on how the organization's overall management and various risks can be managed to build a safer environment. Now, let's move to the first one, which is the centralization of power by the top management. Management power was substantially centralized in the company, as well as Madoff himself, the chief financial officer in Madoff Securities, was also involved in the fraud, who were charged with over 10 crimes. Executive power was concentrated and centralized in power in people at high positions, which could be a serious threat as they may seek for their own benefits. If power had been diversified among different people in the company, along with sound supervision of non-executive directors, the fraud would not have been hidden from public for such a long time. Okay, now, the next one is the whistleblower by BOD, which is Board of Directors. Madoff's sons, Mark and Andrew, told authorities that their father had confessed to them that the asset management unit of his firm was a massive Ponzi scheme, and quoted him as saying that it was one big lie. The following day, agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation arrested Madoff and charged him with one count of securities fraud. Madoff's sons were doing their job as the BOD of the company by calling out his father after knowing that the company are doing fraud. Lastly, for the risk management rules in legal authorization under corporate governance. At first, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) had previously conducted multiple investigations into his business practices but had not uncovered the massive fraud because members of the Madoff family had served as the leaders of the Securities Industry and Financial Market Association (SIFMA), the primary securities industry in the organization. There was an ex-trader admitted in court to faking records for Madoff since the early 1970s. Lastly, on December 11, 2008, Madoff was arrested and charged with securities fraud by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC). Madoff accepted a lifetime ban from the securities industry. Thank you. That's all from me. Now let's move to the next presenter, Muhammad Shakir.
Thank you. My name is Shakir, and I am representing the conclusion for for this case. In conclusion, the Benny Madoff Ponzi scheme ring became notorious because it's one of the largest Ponzi scheme and remained undetected for many years or maybe even longer than its discovery. The motive of Benny Madoff case is also remain unclear because Madoff Investment Security LLC is one of the largest company and and has earned millions of fortunes. The case of Benny Madoff will undoubtedly affect the hedge fund industry regulation and its risk management processes. The case will only be uncovered because due to its subprime crisis and its consecutive liquidity default. The cases will be the basis for improving the rule and regulation of its operational risk management toward the liquidity in asset management and private banking. The cases will also could also be used to implement it as a tool to improve due diligence processes. Then, the lack of transparency is one of the major factors in the development of many Madoff Ponzi schemes. Many investors fall to the scheme because the company's success and reputation provide an provide confidence to the investor that their investment will be effective. But this also creates an opacity and ambiguity as the investor doesn't know what happened during the investment. Therefore, a new regulation and standard should be implemented to uncover the lack of transparency while also provide the investor with a clear idea on investment activity entitled to avoid confusion and also provide a protection for them for the protection against fraud. Right. That is